then, you know, you obviously you put your frames in there. And I do have a, this is your Honey Super, the medium frame with foundation. Put those aside. I'm just going to throw the frame spacers, you know, aside. These are pretty simple. Once you get your 10 frames, 8 frames, 5 frames, whatever you're going to start out with, you just put it, they just line up on it, keeps the spacing perfect, which definitely you want to do, obviously. And where is my, hold on, I'm working on it. Now the Honey Super, these are sold separately. You can see they just right on there, and you put your queen excluder, then your Honey Super, and your 10 frames. You can either use frames with foundation or just frames. When you're extracting honey, having the foundation in here, when you're spinning it, you don't have to worry about the comb itself flying apart. So that's why I use, now some of my frames, my brood frames, I just use frames with no foundation. And I'll just let them build both sides and then gradually, you know, fill it out. So you put these in there, and like I say, it'll hold 10. Then you put your spacers in there, and it's spaced perfectly. The workers, they come up through the queen excluder, and they can fill these, and you get 10 frames full of honey. This baby's going to be heavy. So that's why I always use your medium. This is considered a large, medium, and they make a small, which will be, these are the two sizes that everybody uses. This is a standard Lang's trough frames. So whether you're using the Apimaye or you're using wooden hives, doesn't matter. All of these frames, as long as they're compatible with the Lang's trough, all the frames are interchangeable, which is very nice. Like I say, you have to purchase the Honey Super separately unless you're using a brood box as a Honey Super, which you can do. It's all a matter of preference. If you're strong enough, if you're young, strappy people working for you, hey, they can lift 60 pounds or more from a large super. For me, go with the 30. Most people do. I mean, there are some people that go with the large supers for the honeys, but that's just too heavy, for me anyway. You can get, depending on how your summer goes, your bees will fill this up. Once it's full, you can harvest your honey, and it's still early enough in the season, June, July, really depends on where you live as to how fast this will get filled with honey. You generally want to wait until it's 100% full of honey. You can do it sooner than that if you want, but you have to make sure you only harvest once a year, because the bees rely, even if you feed them syrup or the sugar, the candy during the winter, whether you use honeybee, there's a variety of patties. Whether you make your own patties, you can put that also into the feeders. And so really, but anyway, the bees need those honey stores, pollen and all that, their second batch, so they can make it through the winter without dying. Sometimes people will lose hives and they'll wonder what the hell, you know, what happened. Well, they didn't. Chances are, if they didn't have enough honey and you didn't give them enough dry, or, you know, candy or the syrup, they won't have enough stores to get them through the winter. So what I do is I take the supers off. If your hive is big enough, you can leave 2 brood boxes on. And sometimes they'll be able to get through with just one. It depends on the size of your hive. You got to remember, a hive will be anywhere from 30 to 60,000 bees. That's a lot of bees. And everything is interchangeable. So you can take your, even with the frames in it, you can take your feeders, put them right on top. And the cover is laying over. Oh, one very important thing I forgot. Not paying attention. What's nice about this also, make sure I grab the right one here. What's nice also about this, let's put this up here, is it comes with dividers. So let's say you wanted to take your brood box and you want to basically separate it into two different hives. These dividers work perfect. You slide these in. There's slots, as you can see here, and in the front, and these dividers, these are still wrapped up. They just fit in basically like that, and they slide down. So you can actually divide this in half. When you do that, you will lose one frame. So you'll have one frame missing, obviously, because this takes up the space of a frame, or close to it. And this also has your adjusting wheels, so you can allow the bees to go back and forth. You can separate them, so it's the exact same set, not exact, but the same setup as this here. Me, I doubt that I would ever use a divider, but let's say you have a real small hive because something happened to it. You had a swarm, let's say, and the queen left with half of your brood. And it's close to winter, you can put this divider in here and actually completely close off, because it goes all the way down to the bottom. Okay, you have to take your tray out though, just to fit all the way flush, and it will stop the bees from going back and forth. So if you have a small hive, obviously you understand that in winter climates the hives create their own heat to survive the winter, otherwise obviously they'll freeze. Moisture can be a problem, your bees will freeze if the water's dripping on them from the moisture collecting on the lid. That's why I wrap mine with pink board in the Apimaye hive. Like I say, it's insulated 6.83. And so anyway, you can basically slide one of these down in there and take up half the space. These are stackable also. And so that's actually a pretty nice feature. If you have a problem and you have a very small hive and you're concerned about it getting through the winter, and you can cut this down to one box also. You don't have to have two brood boxes. You can have one brood box and a honey super, two brood boxes, super, whatever you want to do, any combination. It's all, entirely up to you. So it really depends on what you want. But that's what's nice about these, is they're all interchangeable. They also make kits, the top board and the screen filter. I do have one, I have to unbury it. They make those for the wooden hives. So you can take your wooden hive, use their bottom board, which that's what I was talking about, like the wooden hive, you gotta have your bottom board. You want to if you take that out, put the screen board in, so your beetles will drop through, and your mites will drop through, they can't get back in. Some of the bottom boards you can get with a tray, so you can put oil in it. And really, there's a variety of ways that you can do it. And if your hive keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, you can add as many. Like, because I have the queen excluder in there, you want to use your lower latch point. Because if you try to use the top one, you can wind up breaking your latch, and that's why these are designed with double in there. All right, got to slide her a little bit over. I don't think I need a frame in there. I'm not quite lined up. This is what the problem is here. So, because you got to have it lined up, obviously, so you're not overlapping. There we go. Now it's a lot easier. That's to say, why take and redo the video. And then You can put your feeders, you don't have to have the feeders in, but you know, why not leave them in there rather than trying to dig them out when you're going to need them. And the lid, I don't know if you can tell, there's slats in it here for the, there we go. Well, there's no light on this part here. I only have 2 lights in here. I have a lot of work to do. Anyway, these are so you get rid of the moisture, excessive heat, excessive moisture is the biggest thing. They just line up on top. And again, you use the lower latches because I have the feeders in here, so you have to use the lower latch, not the top. What's nice also is the latches on the side of these, they also sell them individually, so you can actually latch together your wooden hives. I don't know anybody that sells them individually other than Apimaye's website themselves. Amazon sells the hives. What doesn't Amazon sell, right? Anyway, it's cheaper to buy them on Apimaye's site because then they don't charge you shipping. And if you buy the latest edition, I believe it's the 15th edition of Honeybees for Dummies, it's $20 on Amazon, and it has a $25 off coupon from Apimaye. Man Lake also has a coupon, but I've never been able to get it to work. And if you read the fine print, yeah. So, Dayton, they also, is it Dayton? Yeah, they also have coupons. Anyways, there's a variety of coupons in there you can use. So if you spend $20 on the book, and you decide to buy an Apimaye, you have to buy it from the website in order to use the coupon. You get $25 off. You just put the coupon code in. So that's really handy. So you already paid for that, pays for the book, plus technically $5. The book is really good. I'll go over books in another video. So I think I've pretty much covered everything that needs to be covered. Food grade, well worth the money. If you get it with just the 2 bottom boxes, the 2 brood boxes, the way it comes, and not the honey super, but it comes with everything else, I believe it's with the coupon it's $260, so it's $285 on the website. Prices fluctuate, but anyway, they just started selling these within, I think, the last 3 or 4 years, maybe 5, in the States. But they sell them worldwide. They are made in Turkey, but these are very well made, extremely heavy. You know, now that I've got the honey super on there, the weight of this really, I mean, it's hard to lift. You know, so, and the other thing also is with possum, raccoons, they're not going to get in this. And they sure aren't going to have the strength to knock it over. Your wooden hives, you know, they can get into those, they can knock the top off of it, they can knock the honey super off, and completely destroy a hive. And that's what's nice about these latches. They do sell them individually. Maybe like $8 or something like that for your wooden hives for a set. So that is really, that, you know, is a nice plus. So you can take your wooden hives, put the latches on there, and you're good to go. It's not bear proof. So if you live, let's say you're up in Alaska, northern Canada, northern part of Russia, wherever you're at, Siberia, bears, they don't say they're bear proof, so bears probably, as strong as they are, could rip this thing apart. But generally, this is a very, very good beehive. And you can also purchase it with frames and foundations, without frames. I go without frames because I have a lot of frames laying around. And there are some, the frames that they sell are, the plastic frames. They also sell wooden, but they sell plastic frames. They also sell the foundations also. So it's a matter of up to you, but for the cost of adding their plastic frames, to me it wasn't worth the cost of, go and add that much to the price. So that's why I just buy the kit as it is. These Honey Supers are $65, so that's an extra cost that you can look into it, when you price everything out. But the other thing you have to remember, it's already insulated, good for the north, good for the deep south, Texas or wherever we're hotter than hell out. Provides more protection. Nobody likes to lose a hive during the winter or during a hot summer. When you see bees come out and they're clustering outside the hive, that means it's too hot in there. So they have to come out because there's too much heat. Also, a lot of people don't realize that bees will come out during the winter months. If you get a day where it's sunny, up in the 40s, at least in Michigan anyway, 50s, the bees will come out. So, you don't want to leave it fully open, like it is here. You want to close it down, maybe one or two, because the bees will come out and do what they have